Hey everybody, welcome back. So today is geared a lot towards newer keepers of large constrictors. We got a message today and a video attached to it, some questions, and they really pertain overall to the topic of the balance that we talk about between confidence and caution when we're working with these animals, so that we can ensure we're doing it safely and it's a good experience for them and a good experience for us. So I thought that was a really good idea for us to talk about today. I'm going to go over the video that I was sent. It's pretty brief, but there's a lot of good talking points in it. And then we're going to demonstrate those techniques on our 16-foot purple tiger reticulated python right here, and kind of go over what we can expect, what we should expect, what we should be doing, and see if that helps any of you guys out. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Intrepid Exotics. Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, help us encourage responsible keeping, conservation, and public education in the interest of keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as we protect them for future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics. Now, for those of you guys that keep reticulated pythons, you know they're really smart. And Tigger right here, he knows when it's time to come out because he sees the tub come out. And now he's just laying there staring at me. I don't know whether he's going to be grumpy and he's not going to want to be messed with, or if he's going to want to come out and just cooperate with me, but we will see. Anytime you're making videos with animals, you can never predict exactly what they're going to do, so we'll see how he does tonight. But I wanted to kind of go over this video that I got tonight because, like I said, I think there's a lot of good talking points in here. Now, we've got somebody who has recently taken in a 8-foot reticulated python and has taken some advice about having platforms in there for him and a big water receptacle and so forth. So he's really working on doing the right thing. So this is by no means meant to, slam or chastise or anything like that. He's a good guy, trying to do the right thing with him. And of course, experience comes with experience, and the only way you get it is by doing it. So I wanted to point out a couple of things in this video. Now, as we open up here, you see he's got the hide spot for the snake in there. He's got the platform and so forth. But the problem is that platform is built into the enclosure, and that snake is tucked down. He's really comfortable, doesn't want to be messed with, and it makes it kind of difficult when it comes time to take that animal out to get in there and try and force them out of that spot. If they want to stay in there, once they flex up, that's where they're going to stay. They're going to be really difficult to get out. So one of the suggestions that I made was to take that permanent platform out and build another one that's removable, so that when you've got to take the snake out of there to clean the enclosure, or if you've got to check them for something, all you've got to do is take that basking platform out of the enclosure. The snake doesn't have anything to hang on to now, and they're going to be so much easier to work with. And they can still get under it, they can still hide under it and so forth, but it's really going to make it easier to work with them. Now, we talk about tapping down the snakes. We talk about, making sure they don't have an active food response and so forth. But 9 times out of 10, I'd probably say 99 times out of 100, snakes don't like hooks. They don't like being poked, and especially if they're in an enclosure like that and they're tight and they're secure. If you touch them, they're just going to recoil, and they don't want to be messed with, until you actually get them out and you get to handling them. And then most of the time, you'll see their demeanor change. You'll see them get really happy to be out. They'll start exploring and stuff like that. Should see a pretty similar behavior in Tigger when I go in to get him out. So that's a really important part to remember when you're setting up your enclosure, is you want to make sure that you're not going to have to fight that animal to get him out. You want it to be real easy to just go in, get him out, because like we've said before, that whole episode leading up to being handled can be stressful for them. That's a cause of anxiety. They don't know what's going to happen. They're tucked back in a corner, and all of a sudden something's coming in at them. And we want to make that period of anxiety just as brief as we can. And if we've got permanent structures in there that make it difficult to get to them, it just makes that last longer, and it can make them really uneasy. So we needed to go in here and change his water out anyway. It's a really good opportunity to get him out, get his bedding changed out, get his water changed, get him all set. And I'm using him for a couple reasons. One, he's about the only one that hasn't eaten yesterday. And two, he's a big 16-foot male retic. So he's as good of an example as any of what might be a grumpy animal. Now we can expect to see a couple things here. Like I said, it's hard to predict. I just want to kind of talk through this stuff a little bit now, because when we go in and get him out, things happen so quickly that it can be hard to keep up with, it can be hard to explain sometimes in the process. So like I said, he's in here, he's awake right now, he's looking at me, he knows something's going on, and probably doesn't want to be messed with. He's under his heat panel, really chill. So what I'm going to do is first, of course, I'm going to take the lid off of this, because I don't want to be fighting with the lid. Once I get him out, I'm just going to keep it close enough to where I can get to it. Once I get him in there, you'll see he likes to shoot out the other side. But we're going to get the snake hook out. I've got my longer snake hook here. Actually, since I've got all this camera stuff set up, I'm going to use the shorter one because I just don't have as much room as I would. So we're just going to go ahead and open his enclosure up, get him out, and I want you to take note of how I'm using the hook. This is going to be just a bare minimum, just to make sure that he doesn't have a hot food response, and since he refused yesterday, I'm not expecting one. But he could be a little stressed out right now, and he could throw a defensive response at me. You never know. It's that first interaction with him that's so important, it determines how the rest of it goes. So let's get him out. See how he reacts to this. Yeah, his head perked up just a little bit, and he's looking at me. He's like, what's going on, dude? Do we got to do something here? And you'll notice a lot of times I like to open the enclosure door with the hook. It just keeps those warm hands away from his face, because you see, you know, we're close enough right here to where if he caught the heat from my hands and he had a food response, it's real easy for him to get it. So what I'm going to do is just open this up a little bit. You see, he's already recoiling a little bit. He doesn't necessarily want to interact, but he knows what time it is. I'm just going to get down here, and since I'm over here and I've got the tub over there, I'm just going to go in and kind of bump him a little bit, let him know what's going on. He should start running the other direction. That's kind of his normal thing. As soon as I get my hands on him, he's going to start running away from me. But see, he's not giving me any indication that he's defensive. He's really chill. He's kind of like, okay, leave me alone. So I'm going to get my hands on him. And there. As soon as he starts running. Come on, buddy. Come on, bud. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. You're okay. Ah. And this is just a big snake that is comfortable and doesn't want to be messed with. God, he's so strong. And see, and once he's out, that little fight right there, hanging onto my leg a little bit now. There you go. See, you're good, buddy. See, now he just wants to explore. And it took a lot of effort to get him out. And I'm not stressing about him coiling up on my leg at all. Like I said, he's just hanging on. And you can see he's got those long, comfortable tongue flicks. He's just kind of looking around. Nothing at all to worry about with this animal. So let's see if we can get him in the tub real quick. God, he's got such a grip on my leg. There you go, bud. We'll get you in the tub so we can change your stuff. And there you go. Out the other side. As usual. Here you go, bud. Hang out for me for a second. Whew. Okay, so he's all cleaned out. He's got fresh water. Still in the tub. We're going to go ahead and put him back in just a minute. But I wanted to talk through what happened when we was taking him out. And this really ties in a lot. If I would have had anything permanent in there that he could have been able to wrap around or something like that, you've seen how much difficulty I had just getting him out as soon as he decided to run. That's kind of what, like I said, that's what we look for when we go in there with the hook and we can't really figure out what their frame of mind is. You just get them doing something, and with him, 90% of the time, he's going to take off like that. And as soon as he takes off like that, I was a little slow on the draw, or it would have been a little bit easier because, of course, I was filming. But as soon as they take off like that, you throw that hook down, you get a hold of them, and you drag them out of the enclosure. And it's I know it can be unnerving for a lot of people because you got an 80-pound noodle made of muscle with a bunch of sharp teeth at the end of it, and you're wrestling with it, and you're putting, I mean, it took some effort to get him moved over. And you seen, as soon as he came out, he knows what to expect. He trusts me. I've had him for a long time. He come out, he started throwing wraps around my leg just to kind of hang on, and started checking stuff out, which is exactly what we're looking for. But, you know, it doesn't do any good. It's not going to calm him down. If I would have sat there with that hook, got him moving, and then went over to the other side and hooked him again, or went over and hooked him and chased him around with the hook, sooner or later he's going to get frustrated and he's going to strike at me. So when we're working with these guys, like I said, you're cautious because you're using the hook, you're guiding their head, you're waiting until you see behaviors that you recognize. But as soon as you see those behaviors, there's got to be that time where you're like, okay, got it. You drop your stuff, you get a hold of them, you get them out, because they thrive on that confidence that you've got working with them. You can't half step. Once you've got a big snake, you've got to be able to make them do, to the best of your ability, what you need them to do to get them out of that enclosure. And then once they're out, just like in his case, he's checking stuff out. He's just happy to be out. So let's get him put back in. And it's warm down here. And I've been wrestling a snake, and we're going to wrestle him again a little bit. He normally goes in a little bit easier. But again, when I open the lid on these things, I pull him back towards me so that if he's waiting there, it's just a good practice to get into. This is the thing about keeping these guys. There's just really basic stuff that may not even be necessary. But if you do it every time, you're going to avoid those freak occurrences where maybe they, you know, maybe as soon as you open it up, it startles them and they come shooting right out at you. Dang. Got to get him moving. Come on, buddy. Come on. Get moving for me. Yeah, that's a good boy. Come on. There's a good boy, Tig. He's such a good snake. Such a good snake. He really is. He's just so big, man. He's like a bull in a china shop. He's got the best attitude. But, man, you talk about a freaking ball of muscle, man. This is a strong animal right here. And I'm hoping he's going to want to go home of his own accord. You want to go home, buddy? Okay. So I don't think he's going to want to go home of his own accord. Come on, stud. Get in there. I just want to get him moving in a direction that's behind a door. There you go, bud. He wants to get out and run. What are you doing, man? Why don't you work with me here? Go check out your fresh water. All kinds of fresh water over there. There you go. Nope. If you ever hear reticulated pythons referred to as crazy 2-year-olds, this is why. That's a good boy. Get your butt in there. Whew. Okay, so he's back home. I'm done panting a little bit. So I hope that helped you guys out a little bit. You know, like I said, if you got any questions, get down in the comments. Make sure to drop them down there. Again, like, subscribe. Just helps get this stuff out to more keepers. Helps more people have better relationships with their animals. And if you guys want to see some other stuff that we put out not too long ago, we did an episode pretty much talking about behavior on the smaller snakes, and you can check that out right here. And we'll see you guys next time on Intrepid Exotics.